CCTV.
Yeah.
So the CCTV saw me carrying my bags to the station and all that. And I left. Coming back, because my dad died. Anyway, that was when I was leaving. So shortly after I left the hospital, I was told that the hospital was burgled of some computers and co. So while they were sending people to, investigating, one of the places they went to was to check their CCTVs around. So they now saw me and they carried some boxes. This was in the train station, not inside the hospital.
Yeah.
So I was now made a ground suspect.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's That Proud Black Woman again, and thank you for always tuning in. Thank you so much. You don't know what this means to me. As I said before, this is my hobby, I would say my newfound hobby, because I didn't think that I would be a little bit as confident as I am in front of the camera nowadays, because I feel like every time I walk around, ideas just keep popping into my head, and I'm like, you know what, let me share with the people. I never know who it's going to benefit. So here we are. So if you've seen the part one of me getting my dad to actually share his experience with everybody meaning you guys. So I'm going to link it like right here, so if you've not seen it before, you can go and see it. So the video was getting too long, so I decided to cut it short. So now I've decided to do the part two of it, and it gets even worse in the part two. Like, you guys need to listen to every bit of it. Like, he even got arrested. Spoiler alert, he got arrested due to racial profiling for no reason, just because he was black. You might think I'm exaggerating, but you just keep watching and listen to him like actually share his experience. Now we're laughing about it, but I'm sure he went through hell back then. And it's like, I'm just dumbfounded. Like, every time I listen to it, it gives me goosebumps. It makes me feel like, wow, he actually did go through these things. So stay tuned and let's watch together.
One of the experiences I had, I saw a patient in the outpatient. It's a lady. I booked a patient for surgery. And during the time of surgery, it came onto my list for surgery, because we operate in group, and like 3 or 4 surgeons together in a list. So we may take it one after the other randomly.
Yes. Except
you are particularly interested in a particular case, or where 2 people or 3 had to combine to operate one particular case. So this lady, I didn't need anybody to combine with to do it. I operated everything from outpatient to discharge. There was no problem, and she was admitted on a side room, which we call side ward. But because I'm the only black person and my accent, people always say pardon, so I don't usually talk.
So I'm going to put a video here, like the link to a video here that I did before, and I was talking about how our accent sometimes also that our accent also like makes us have like it affects us as well, like when we travel overseas. I don't see any problem in my accent. I love my accent the way it is. So everybody has an accent. If you're British and you go to the US, you have an accent. If you're from US and you go to Britain, you have an accent. If you're Nigerian, you go to Ghana, you have an accent. If you're Ghanaian and you go to Nigeria, you have an accent. So that shouldn't be a way to make people feel little about themselves. Okay? All you have to do is listen properly. You're going to get it. Okay? Don't make people feel little about themselves to the extent that they don't want to talk. They don't want to speak anywhere they go. I've seen people like that as well, that they don't want to talk. Like, no matter, except you actually ask them, they don't want to talk. I feel like my accent is sexy. I don't want to change my accent for nobody. Okay? But living in different countries, there might be a little bit of difference in my accent, but it doesn't mean that I'm actively trying to change the accent. The same thing if you're living in another country, you might pick up some words that you wouldn't usually have used. That doesn't mean you're trying to change your accent. But I feel like my accent is sexy. So it's not just the British accent. Just put it out there. It's not only the British accent that is sexy. It's not only the French accent that is sexy. Nigerian accent is sexy too. Just put it out there. Let's continue. I know I talk too much.
You understand? I don't usually talk. Or when it's hard up, the leader may say, Dr. Akinroye, what's your idea? What's your opinion? I mean, that would be the only time I would talk. Otherwise, we'll just do a reward round without my talking. So, because this lady was in the side room, I was always the last to enter. When they troop in as a group, I'll be the last to enter. And when I'm the last to enter, it means I'm the first to go out.
Yeah.
When we finish with that, because I'll be by the door. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So, without knowing that this lady has some kind of philia for me, and it's white. Mm-hmm. So after she was discharged, about a week or so later, I was operating in the theater, and this same colleague of mine, an Indian, just called me and said, "Oh, Dr. Akinroye, that's what he called me."
That Indian guy can't keep his mouth shut, can he? Like, he just can't. He can't help himself. And thank God for him, like all the things that my dad got to find out was because of him. For him not being able to shut up. Oh Lord, he couldn't help himself, but God bless you.
Did you see the head of the department? I said, what for? It looks like he was stating that it looks like there's some write-up about you, money about me.
So I just wanted to explain what he said because he spoke in my language. So I'm from Nigeria and my language is Yoruba. And he said something in Yoruba I wanted to translate. So shout out to my Nigerian people, shout out to Yoruba people. I know you understand, but this is for people that are my audience that are watching that are not Nigerian or that are not Yoruba. And I just wanted to clarify what he said. So what he said is the guy was hesitant to tell him just because he didn't want to get in trouble so that they won't say, oh, you're the one that went to snitch. Do you get it? So that's what it said in my language. Just wanted to explain that for people that don't understand Yoruba. Okay?
Okay, it's all right. So when the man came, that was the head of the department, I went to him and I said, hello, sir. Is there anything that I need to know? Either with patient management or something. Oh, he said, oh, don't worry, we are looking into it. That means there was something.
Yeah.
So with that, I was like, jittery. What did I do just now? Or what have I really done that needs to be looked into? Fortunately, this time around I was not called. I was only given the report finally. That's why I said it may not be a good case of this, but just to entertain you with it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm told that a woman wrote a petition against me about how wicked I was and unfair to her when I was treating her. Wow. And passed it through the bureau chairman to the hospital head.
You see how people can be so shallow and people can be so petty, right? So because you have some kind of feeling towards him, you don't like him or something, so you want to ruin his career. This is a guy that just fixed you, performed surgery on you, fixed you, and you feel like the way to repay him is actually because you don't like him or whatever was the situation, to ruin his life. Because now you're not just going to report to the hospital, you're going through the borough chairman, which then reported to the hospital. Thank God that the hospital at that point, they actually intervened in a good way. It would have been a different story. Maybe his license would have been taken away from him that he worked so hard to get. Like, people can be so mean and wicked. Just keep listening and you'll get like the full gist of it. Wow.
That was how bad she wanted to take it. Well, from my relationship with her, as far as I'm concerned, that's discriminatory. But the hospital was able.
Damn right it is. It is discriminatory. Thank God for the hospital. In this situation, the hospital was like, they did more than, like, they were so good. Like, they did it, they weren't discriminatory, they handled it perfectly without involving my dad. But from the lady, yeah, it is discriminatory. So my dad saying in the beginning, this might not be a good example of discrimination. Yes, it is, because discrimination doesn't have to come from the authorities only. It comes from individuals as well. So yeah, damn straight it is.
To hold it and handle it more maturely. Now, I was told finally that they had to call a committee without calling me in there to want to prove that this, because once the staff confronting me, it means they have found the fault.
Yes.
And probably I'm already guilty. There's no point defending myself. So I'm told they called the woman and carried the case now and started going page by page. Look, that this man, you saw this man in outpatient like 2 or 3 times. Was that the time he was wicked to you? He said no. Okay. Now, the going was good. At the end, at the time you needed surgery, it was this man that discussed the surgery with you and you accepted. Said yes. If you had any lack of confidence in him, would you have signed? He said no. Okay. Now, from this case note, it was still the same man who operated you. If you had no confidence in him, or he was wicked to you, or being unfair to you, why did you allow him to operate on you?
My point exactly. Why did you allow him to operate on you when you feel some type of way about him? Or maybe as at that time that you got operated, he was the best that there was, and you were like, you know what, I'm just going to get fixed and then get his life ruined. Like, what was going through your head at that point? I don't know. We just keep listening.
I was told that it was that time that she broke down. I started weeping and saying all sorts of things that, she expected me to come at my own leisure, to come and play with her, to come and meet her.
Pardon my French. I call BS on that. Total BS on that. That's just crocodile tears. Like, at that point, she has been cornered and she can't find a way out. And she thought, you know what? I'm just going to cry, shed some tears, and then say, oh, he didn't come see me while I was in the room. He's a surgeon. He performed his duties. He's not there to babysit you, neither is he there to play with you. He's just there to fix you and make sure that you get all the necessary things that you need, but not to give you some kind of company because you're bored, you don't have anybody to talk to. So because of that, you want to ruin his life when he has his job to actually do and save other patients' lives. You see how silly the excuse was? Oh, he couldn't come play with me at his leisure. I call BS on that. Total BS.
That I never did. Or rather, I would be the last to enter the room. I would be the first to leave the room. And I will not come back to say anything to her. Is that fair? Is that fair treatment? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they now said, well, this one has not offended you. If you had other ulterior motive, you can go and meet him. So fortunately, they did not involve me.
Yeah.
Because if they had done so, I would have been mad.
Yeah.
But you know what? When I was leaving UK, when I finally decided to pack home.
before we get to the next story, which was like thrilling, my dad said at the beginning that he doesn't feel like this is discrimination. He just wants to entertain me with it. But I feel it's discrimination on the part of the lady to do that and to take it to that height. You could have just called whoever was his superior at the office and say, this is what I feel. Or you could call him and tell him, this is what I feel. I want more attention or whatever. But then you went to the borough chairman, knowing fully well that that's going to be taken seriously. Knowing fully well that he was a black man and all eyes were on him. But this next story is like very fascinating, very thrilling for me. And I feel like it's going to be the same for you, where he actually got arrested simply because he's black. Nothing more, nothing less. He just got arrested because they feel like he's a black person working somewhere, whatever thing that had happened that was criminal, it must have been him. And he got arrested for that. So listen to it and then let me know in the comment if you feel that whatever the police did was justifiable or not. Let me know what you feel in the comments.
There's a hospital, there's a railway station inside the hospital. That's not a train station, tube station inside the hospital.
Yeah.
And I lived in the hospital accommodation, where there's just a footpath to the train station. So I had to pack my luggage into the train station waiting for the train. And lo and behold, there was the general CCTV.
Yeah.
So the CCTV saw me carrying my bags to the station and all that. And I left. Coming back, because my dad died, before anyway, that was when I was leaving. So shortly after I left the hospital, I was told that the hospital was burgled of some computers and co. So while they were sending people to, investigating, one of the places they went to was to check their CCTVs around. So they now saw me and they carried some boxes. This was in the train station, not inside the hospital.
Yeah.
So I was now made a ground suspect. They printed that.
Tell me that is not racial profiling. This guy was leaving the country, packed his bags. He lives in the hospital accommodation. Packed his bags, went to the train station with his bags, and the hospital got burgled. You thought, I could bet that there have been hundreds of people walking with bags into the train station, but you pinpointed the black person that was there with his bags. I said, yeah, it must be the prime suspect. You had no other reason to suspect him. This man works with the hospital. This man lives in the hospital. So yeah, he could have bags. But you thought, yeah, that's the easy target. So remember, the video that they saw, the CCTV footage that they saw wasn't within the hospital. It was at the train station. Nothing else was connecting him to leaving the hospital with bags. So it's ridiculous how racial profiling has been. And this was like about 30 years ago. And a lot of things hasn't changed up till now. It's just been more systemic. And in some places, they don't care. It's not even systemic. It's like out there. They do whatever. You get what you get. And you're gonna be happy about it. That's just it. Oh well.
Clear pictures of me, about 4. The only thing that saved me was that 3 months later, my father died. I needed to go to Germany. So I flew into London. Fortunately, I had the invitation cards with me. I flew into London, and then I went to the hospital just to say hello to my friends. So one of my friends now told me, Doc, somebody, the policemen were looking for you. Looking for me? He said, what did I do? So they said, they now told me this scenario that some things were missing in the hospital, stolen, therefore, they felt you are the person who stole it.
What?
It's all right. I said, what do I do now? He said, I should go to the police station. Every hospital has a police station.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the police station to report myself that I'm told that somebody was looking, they are looking for...
It's so funny. He went to report himself, to turn himself in. I feel like it was a good decision. As at that time, people say, are you stupid? Don't you know they're going to arrest you? But I feel like it was a good decision for him to go clear his name. Even though what he thought he was going to meet was not what he finally met there. How he thought they were going to handle it wasn't how they actually handled it. But at the end of it all, he cleared his name. So, yeah, you want to find out how he actually did that? Keep watching. You're going to be intrigued, as I said. Like, it's like a movie. You can actually write a movie on his story.
Somebody that look like me. This is me. I'm not a thief. So the policeman brought out the file. He actually saw my pictures there. But he said, you are not, but go and clear yourself at Wembley Station. You understand?
Yeah.
So I said, Wembley Station. He said, okay, I'll go. I took off, I went there. I got to Wembley Station. Of course, the door was electronically controlled. So when they saw me knocking at the gate or saw a door, the electronic opened the gate, I came in. And I said, well, I'm Dr. Susu, I'm coming for Susu and So Hospital. And I went to the police station there because I was told when I left the hospital, they were looking for somebody that looked like me, having stolen. I'm here, I'm not a thief, I'm a doctor.
If he was a thief, if he actually did that, do you think he would be bold enough to come to Wembley police station and just say, oh, by the way, I heard that my photo is out there and I just wanted to tell you I'm not a thief? No, it wouldn't. Like, it would skedaddle, like, right away. So already you should think about that. Like, for this person to even come to clear his name, to try to clear his name, there must be an atom of truth in what he's saying. And then you handle it as such. Do your investigation accordingly. Right? But, oh well. Let's keep listening.
So, they said, okay, I should wait. They went in and called another officer. That officer, as he was coming, was carrying a file, was opening and closing and properly, and going through the so I said it was direct. Whatever you want to say, I advise you not to say anything, or anything you say will be taken against you. And I said, what about it? And immediately, I was taken to the cell. You understand?
Yeah.
Without any notice to anybody. When they were taking me to the cell, I said, come on, let me speak to somebody. They said, who?
Did they even give him the right to an attorney or something? Like the right to speak to his lawyer? Even though he doesn't have a lawyer, but the state can appoint one for him. They just said, oh yeah, you're advised not to say anything because whatever you say will be used against you in the court of law, blah, blah, blah. And then took him off without giving him that phone call to a family, to a friend, to whatever, to let them know where he is. He had to ask. Good thing like he thought fast, right? Good thing he thought about it fast. Otherwise, he would just rot in there. Nobody would know where he is. Maybe till now, right?
And that's my cousin. And they said, but I have to speak in English. I said, yes, I will speak in English. Then they collected the number and called him. When they called him, he now said, brother, what is the matter? I said, well, they accused me of stealing. He said, is that possible? They put it on speaker. He said, that is not possible. They were hearing. Then, because they all waited around me there. And I said, well, I've been taken to the cell now. I want you to know that I'm in Wembley Station, police station. They said, well, can I speak with the officer? So then I said, well, officer, he wants to talk to you. So they now told the officer, that man you want to delay is a medical dog. officer said, so what? So I'm telling you, that man you want to delay is a medical doctor and he's not a thief. And I'm coming.
We understand that being a medical doctor doesn't mean you can't steal, right? But I feel like they would have handled it differently if he wasn't black. I feel like they would have given him a little bit more respect. They would have given him the benefit of the doubt if he wasn't black. I don't know if you understand that, but I feel like they would have done, like, it's just like saying maybe Dr. Phil. Let me just use any doctor that comes to my head. Dr. Phil, he went to rob a place to get computers. Like, it sounds ridiculous, right? You'd be like, why does this doctor have to go steal computers from a hospital, right? He gets paid good money, right? Why would you go so low to go get that? It's different if you like embezzled thousands or millions of pounds, but no, it was like computers from a hospital. So if he wasn't black, I feel like they would have given him the benefit of the doubt and he wouldn't have been treated that way. And the fact that my uncle pointed it out and they were like, so what? It's ridiculous, because we all know how you would have treated him if he was a doctor and he isn't black. That's not to say that doctors can be thieves. They can, but I feel like if you have that standard, for you to steal something, it has to be something really big, something really worth it, that when you go to prison, you know, yeah, when I get out of prison, I still have like $5 million to fall back to, not computers. Come on, think about it.
He said no. He said, well, you can't hold me down. I said I'm coming to see my uncle. You cannot tell me not to come.
Exactly.
He said, okay, come. So I was locked up. Eventually, I think Billy came. I didn't really see him. So towards then, when they took me into the cell, they now took all my belongings away from me. Then I now called the officer. I said, look, tomorrow I'm supposed to be in Germany. This is my flight ticket. And by next week, I'm supposed to bury my father in Nigeria. This is the invitation card. So they still locked me in there. After some time, I think 2 or 3 hours, I can't remember how long. So they knocked at my door again. They opened the cell, took me out. I said, would I need a lawyer now? I said, for what? They said, to defend me. I said, defend me against what? They said,
what the heck? Like, they already concluded that he did it. They made up their mind. No matter what he said, it's falling on deaf ears. They already said, well, you did it. Or they couldn't close the case for months and they're looking for who will be the scapegoat. And this scapegoat just presented itself. So they're like, yeah, we're just going to make him take the blame and then this file will be closed. So now they're telling me, do you want a lawyer now so they can defend you? What did he do? I don't get it. Like, the whole story is making me like think, what the heck? Wow.
Because of the accusation against me. I said, well, if there's any accusation against me, let me know. If I cannot defend myself, then if there's the need for a lawyer, I'll say it. But if it's an accusation I can defend myself, let me know what it is. He said, well, they're going to arrange me in the interrogation room. All this while I was the only person inside that police station. Eventually, they took me into the interrogation room. Placed me in the center of the room where there are gadgets all over the place. I don't know what they are all up to. So they now start asking me questions, where am I coming and all that. To the extent, then finally they now gone on to this something missing in the hospital, and they tracked some people and found that I was one of them. I said, what? One of what?
You see how cunning they are? Now they're saying, oh yeah, we already did the investigation and we found that you're one of those people. What did they find? Nothing. They just took a photo. They took a photo of somebody at the train station with suitcases and they already said, oh yeah, you're part of it. these people that robbed the hospital. It's ridiculous, right? And you said it's not rich, and you think it's not racial profiling? Damn straight it is. It is. But thank God for His mercies.
That's not possible. I'm a doctor. I don't steal. At that point, they now brought out the first picture. It was me carrying a box. They said, "Who is this?" I said, "It's me." They brought out another one. It was me. They brought out like about 3 or 4 different boxes that I was carrying. I said they were me. They are my pictures. They now said, "Okay, then tell us, what are you carrying?" As far as they are concerned, this is why they got computer boxes that I mean, that I was doing, that I'm carrying away. Okay, said it's okay. Bring them out one after the other, and let me explain to you what I was carrying. They brought them out, and I told them, in this one, this box contains so and so. This box contains so and so. This box contains so and so. Right now, they are under my bed, Nigeria, and somebody has to go with me because they are there now.
To go to Nigeria.
Yes. Somebody has to go with me because they are there. I have not opened them, and that was true.
Yeah.
Instruments though were annoying.
Yeah.
So when I then said they are full of instruments that I purchased from the hospital, and they now said I purchased from the hospital. I said yes, because they told me there are excess instruments which I could purchase, and I did.
It's weird that when they were doing the investigation at the hospital and they put his picture out, nobody could like defend him. Nobody could he bought instruments. I feel like that is important information that the hospital should have told the police, that okay, this person bought instruments from us and paid for it or donated into some fund, some nursing fund, and we allocated these instruments. That is important information that should have been given, so that way it exonerates him of any kind of thing that they have against him. But nobody said anything because they couldn't be bothered anyway, and made this guy look like a thief for so long. Thank God he came back 3 months after leaving, because it was like, oh, let me just go say hello to my people, to my friends that I made while working at the hospital. And he got from there to the police station. Imagine if he didn't come back for like 10 years or 15 years. He would be on the hook. He would just show up in London one day and he would be arrested for something that happened 10, 15 years ago. And at this point, there's no more evidence to show that he was innocent. So God works in mysterious ways. I think it was God that brought him there so that he can clear himself. Okay.
And it wasn't even that I made much purchase. They said I should go and make donation to Nursing Association of the hospital. And I did. And then they allocated them to me. They said, who knows about it? I gave them the name and all that. So they took me back. Maybe they went to study my mannerism and the way the interaction went. I don't know. Mm-hmm. After some time, they now brought me out again and said, okay, we want to pay you on personal recognition. They said they want to pay you on personal recognition so that you can go to where you are going, provided you return on Monday by 12 o'clock and report in this police station. I said personal recognition, which I lost a few hours ago.
Exactly. Like, you already called the Nigerian embassy to report this guy that he's been incarcerated for theft. He lost all those personal recognition. And now, because you've seen that you made a big mistake, you made a big blunder, instead of you to apologize, you're now saying, oh yeah, we're releasing you based on personal recognition. What personal recognition are you talking about? I don't get it. You made a blunder, own it, and apologize, and do the needful. right? But then they're like trying to play some kind of tricks. It's ridiculous.
Okay, now why I said that was immediately they dragged me. I mean, they wanted to take me to the cell. They called the embassy straight away, Nigerian embassy, that I have been incarcerated because of this and that. So with them, when they now said they want to give me bail me on personal recognition, I said that's not possible. They said, what do you mean? I said, but I was here. You phoned my embassy to tell them. Okay, what happened is you have already told my embassy that I'm a thief. So you have to. I don't know how you're going to go about that. They now told me. They now said they are sorry that they are going to clear that with the embassy. But then, unfortunately, I needed to fly back to Nigeria that day. So I had to accept all the apologies, and
you see, some people would have gotten a lot of money from that, because they will ask, they're going to just sue the police force for what they did, and they would have gotten some like handsome compensation from that. But poor him, he was actually going back to Nigeria to bury his dad. He didn't have time for all those frivolities, so he just had to accept their apology, even though it wasn't sincere, because it could have ended up in jail just like that. A lot of people have ended up in jail for false accusations just like that. So thank God he was exonerated. Thank God they saw that this one couldn't be messed with. But then unfortunately you just had to accept it, because if I was the one, I'm not leaving you just like that. You're gonna have to publish my name in national newspapers, at least 3 of them, showing that I didn't commit that. You're gonna have to go back to all those places where you put my face, that I'm a thief, and put another one with apology saying, yeah, you made a mistake. And then you're going to pay for damages, both emotional and mental damages that it cost me and my loved ones. Like, ain't nobody gonna let you go just like that because you don't know how to do your job, because you go on stereotypes, because you're racial profiling. No way I'm going to let you go like that. But because of he was in a tight situation, he just had to accept the apology and leave. Okay, let's just see. I think it's almost over.
Left the whole thing. The beauty of it was I went there. Otherwise, it would have been I would have been a suspect for a long time, until one day they will just clamp on me. Anywhere in London and say they have seen a thief that ran away 20 years ago.
Exactly.
So so many, I can't remember all this that I talk about. I mean, all of the points. But because you said you wanted more information, that's why it just came to my mind to tell you a few that I can remember.
Yeah.
So there may not be proven discriminations, but
it absolutely does. So my question now is, can I use it on my channel?
Yeah, depending on, like you said, I don't want to run into trouble. Don't say anything that will run you into trouble.
Yeah, usually I edit like if you haven't mentioned like the name of the hospital or anything. Usually, if there's like the name of organizations that you are mentioning their name for some reason, I usually edit that part. But then that's even like for example, the police station. That's like they actually did what they did, so it's not like hearsay or whatever. It's actually that they did something wrong. But like the hospital, you never mentioned the name of the hospital, so I think that's pretty fine. But anything that I feel like it's like can cause any issue, I will definitely edit it out. So just asking.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my dad just telling me to be discreet in whatever I say, because he was looking out for me, as every dad would. Like, but I feel like his story has to be heard. Like, it's been almost 30 years since it happened, but if we don't speak up now, this will still happen in another 30 years to our kids, to our family members, to whoever. Just because of the color of our skin, we get treated in such ways. Now I understand that a lot of people are speaking up and a lot of people are listening more. And we need to keep doing that, okay? Listen more and see how we can make amends to make sure that everybody live in the life in a world free of intimidation, free of victimization, free of social injustice, where we can all live as one human race. That's the dream. That's the dream, people. Stop hating on other people just because of the color of their skin, just because of their background, just because of the differences that they have. Stop hating on people. Life is too short to be hating, okay? My question is, what does that hate do for you? As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't do anything. It does more harm than good. Mentally, physically, emotionally. So why don't we all live together as human race and forget about this person is black, this person is brown, this person is yellow, this person is white. Forget about all those colors. They're all beautiful in their own right. All colors are beautiful in their own right. So let's look at the personality of everybody and judge them by their personality. Okay? Judge them by their personality and not their features, not their physical features, not their physical characteristics. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. I hope, comment down below what you feel about this story. And he said he has a lot more story, but this is what he could remember, which took us a long time. The part 1 and this part 2 has been the longest videos I've ever put out, because it took a long time. He was just saying, oh yeah, another example, which means he had a lot to deal with. So remember, it's That Proud Black Woman. You can follow me on Instagram at That Proud Black Woman. You can follow me on Facebook at That Proud Black Woman. You can comment here what you want, what you feel about the video, or what you want me to see. If you want me to interview you, if you want me to read a write-up from you, contact me. I will surely do that. I'm here to give a voice to the voiceless, okay? It might be a little platform now, but it could grow more than this, and that's the dream. So let me be your voice. Let me read your write-ups. Let me read even if it's poetry about your experience, let me read it. If you want me to interview you, if you're confident in front of the camera, I could Skype you. I could call you on WhatsApp or whatever, and then get your version of the story and post it here on this platform. Let people hear your story and your experiences and how you've overcome or how you're dealing with it, because that's really important. We can't just be recounting all the bad experiences. We have to talk about how we overcome it. That's how we can help other people. Not just by saying, this is my experience, this is my experience. We want to be able to tell people, yeah, I've overcome it, or I'm coping with it. This is how I've coped with it. So with my dad, you see that he's laughing about it now, but I know it was something very painful back then, that he had to make a decision to relocate back to his country because he couldn't take it anymore. Right? But now he's laughing. He's retired, by the way, but he's still running his own private practice. He's retired from the government work. Right? So I love you all. Make sure you subscribe, give me a thumbs up, comment, share, and come back next time. I post, I think 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I post, so always check to see what I posted, comment, show some love. Love you guys. See you next time. Bye.